Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 388. I am one of your hosts, MC Mother Fixer. See, I didn't swear there. See, I cut out myself. That was me. I did that. Alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how you doing?
I'm good.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
You know, it's not Christmas anymore.
Oh yeah, it's New Year now. Sorry, I've missed a couple of weeks. I'm struggling here, Chris. I'm struggling.
Yeah. Well, why'd you miss a couple of weeks, Fix?
I was on holiday.
On holiday?
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing you get mad at Matt P for all the time?
Yeah, this is totally different, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay.
This is totally different because wait. This was different because
I'll record podcasts on Christmas all the time.
I usually do. This year,
Not this year.
Look, we may not have made all the improvements we wanted to My Xbox and Me this year, like last year, but we did get more organized. For all that you could say, we got way more. Now, the audience won't believe that because they'll be like, bro, we still got episodes on Sundays. You're getting this episode on Sunday as well. I don't care. But we did get more organized.
It's true.
So, yeah, man. Yeah. So, suck it. There you go. Crash. Christmas has happened. New Year has happened. Yeah. We are in 2023. To be exact, it's the first of the first.
Yeah, today we're doing a Game of the Year list, right? Oh, wait, Matt's not here. We
Absolutely not. Not only is Matt not here, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you didn't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast right here on youtube.com/My Xbox and Me, and of course, all podcast services. I am happy to announce our first change of the year of 2023. My Xbox and Me has its own official Discord now. Yay! It's been made for months, but we just didn't promote it to anybody. I will put it in the description below of this week's episode. We will be building it out and making changes, and we'll sort out moderators, and we'll have all that done. But yes, we still have my Discord that you can still put questions in. You can still use that. There'll still be nothing will change there. But it was about time that My Xbox and Me had its own Discord to talk about just My Xbox and Me, gaming, video, films, whatever it is, but strictly with just the My Xbox and Me community. Some people don't like GTA roleplay, and that's a lot of what my community has become. So we've decided to make our own Discord, and so we have that. So that's the first announcement of the year. Shout out Patreon's producers, Aaron Guard and FNH Paul. Some of you are probably thinking, have you made changes to the Patreon yet? No. I will do by the end of the month, though. End of the month, we'll make some changes. Me, Matt, and Crash will sit down and figure out a few bits. The year snuck up on us all. I'll be honest with you. We planned on having a meeting. Matt's been away busy. I went away. We've just been enjoying life. Crash has been there. Crash is there. He's alive. Crash got a new computer. Why are you laughing at me, Crash?
That section was about you and Matt. Why are you throwing me into this?
I just thought I'd bring you in, you know? You deserve to be brought in.
I don't want to be in.
Okay. Yeah,
I won't be on the outside.
I respect it. Anyway, I went on a holiday. Yes, I went back to Texas. Yeehaw, cowboy. They never said that once. I spent about 12 days in America, Crash. 12 days.
It was something like that.
Yeah, I've been away this is the longest I've been away from work and the podcast and everything. I didn't do anything. I did no work at all. I played
at all, literally.
That's not literally, but
literally.
So I bought a Steam Deck, as most of you know. Yeah.
Why did you buy it again? Like, can you just give me the reasoning? I'm just curious.
I bought it. I see what you're doing, fam. I see what you're doing.
I'm just asking a basic question. This is just curiosity, you know.
Okay, so I bought a Steam Deck because I knew I was going to America.
Yeah.
And I was going to get on a flight for 10 hours each way.
Yeah.
So 20 hours of gaming, right?
Oh, absolutely. For sure. Minimum.
Because someone explained to me why I only have like 8 hours in Crisis Core then.
But now, did you play those 8 hours on the flight?
No.
So, what did you play on the flight?
Crisis Core.
I thought you just said you didn't play it on the flight.
Oh no, no. Yeah, but not for the whole 8 hours.
Oh,
Ask the
okay.
question you want to ask. Go on, ask. Ask, Chris.
How much gaming did you do during this break? 8 hours?
About 5 hours.
So did you fall asleep with Crisis Core open and just get another 3 hours
No,
long?
no. I played.
Okay,
So
okay.
look, so the whole point of buying the Steam Deck was so I could play games on the go. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I downloaded Tales from the Borderlands. I'm like, I'm getting this done easy. This up 6 hours left, easy. I'm getting this done. Haven't touched it. Didn't get to touch it. I know what you're thinking. So, Fix, you must have played something else.
You know that we record the Game of the Year list
Next
Sunday.
week. Next week.
Yeah.
I've got a week. I've
A
got
week, literally 1 week.
I have a week to beat High on Life, Tales from the
Yeah.
Borderlands,
Crisis Core.
Crisis Core.
There's got to be something else.
Oh, there's a bunch of other games, but I just don't care for the rest of them. Gotham
That's all
Knights.
you're gonna do. Yeah. You don't need to be Gotham.
I don't need
Knights,
to
let's
be
be
Gotham Knights. I
real.
don't need to be Gotham Knights.
No.
Chris, I didn't get to game as much as I thought I would. I was expecting to go there and have a bunch of downtime. I didn't get any downtime at all. Like, seriously, I didn't get any.
Is it because they
on the wrong-
Halo's relatives moved now, right?
Yeah.
Is it because you guys were in a different spot and you guys were like closer, so you guys were mingling more?
No.
Or was it like you just didn't get?
It's because
downtime?
Haley's aunt doesn't let me sit down.
Oh,
At
she wants you
least-
to have a good time.
No, it's not that. She wants me to work. I'm on the ranch, bro. Do you see the pictures? I'm on the ranch. I'm cleaning out
driving.
stalls. I'm feeding animals. Of course, I'm doing everything I hate. Leaving the house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, next year, no, no Christmas.
Next year, I'm not going. No, no. Honestly,
I refuse to work.
no. The truth of it is, there just wasn't any downtime the way I thought there would be. The flight, including the flights, I didn't realize how much I enjoyed. The one thing I will say is, if you don't own a Steam Deck and you enjoy playing PC quality games on the go, the machine is amazing. It's exactly what I dreamed Xbox would do one day. And now I'm just waiting for them to add Game Pass to this bloody thing and we'll be good to go. Like, it's so good. I can't believe the level of graphical fidelity on the games that we get to play. How it's relatively quiet. Don't get me wrong, it does get a little bit loud, but I've got AirPods in anyway that I'm playing with it. It's like I'm sitting there, I'm just like, how am I playing PC games right now?
I just imagine Fix on the airplane. It's nighttime. People have their windows closed, trying to go to sleep. And Fix is playing. He has his AirPods in. He hears nothing, and then everybody's looking around like, "Where's the other plane about to crash into us?
Oh
What's
my
going on?"
God, allow it. No, honestly, I had a good time though. I had a good time away. It was a good time. We'll talk about Crisis Core in a little bit, but I'm loving it. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's do topic of the show this week. Origin Cookie Man says this: with multiple
Zeitgeist.
Thank you. I guess that's, yeah, I could not I was going Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist titles in Game Pass. Does, quote, quiet dominance, yeah, feel like an accurate description of 2022 for Xbox? He also linked an article here that me and Crash both read over to go along with this. So, Original Cookie Man pretty much saying, with games like Survivors, Immortality, Pentiment, High on Life, did Xbox actually dominate 2022 in a way that some of us can't understand, I guess? Crash?
No.
Not even close.
Yeah. A lot of those games, when you're looking at Immortality especially, like, and Pentiment, those are both highly regarded games. They're also both very niche games that they don't make big waves. To have a dominant year, I think you need something. It doesn't have to be as big as a God of War, but you need something in that vein to like really rock the boat. If Halo had come out this year, even though like over the course of time we've sort of looked down at Halo had a big launch still, and I think that would look sort of give pedigree to like having a dominant year and stuff like that. High on Life released pretty late. Vampire Survivor, I'm not giving credit to Game Pass at all. That was buzzing like crazy before when it was just a PC game. People were calling it Game of the Year, so I think it's a little unfair to adjust that to it being a Game Pass sort of thing.
Yeah,
Oh.
I I get what you're trying to say here, but yeah, no. And also, I think the other problem is, like some of these games. I know Pentiment and High on Life. I don't know if Immortality is on anything else. Like they're exclusive, but then they're just not big enough exclusives. At the end of the day, like I love what I'm seeing of High on Life, especially. I'm really looking forward to playing that and get. Oh, that's the other game that I missed that I've got to play and beat. I'm not. I think I said that actually. I like what I'm seeing. It's just not a AAA experience, and you can't even compare PlayStation and Xbox year this year, last year. Sorry, with when you drop a God of War and a Horizon in the same year, like there's not really an argument to be had. To be honest with you, in terms of like dominance, and that's the word you've used here in the quote, which is quiet dominance. No, because you can't have a quiet dominance. Like
it's yeah. Game Pass has had a good year, but I think we also have to echo something that we said for Stadia and we said for Luna, which I think we now have to talk about for Game Pass as well, is exclusives are very, very important.
Yeah.
And if you look at something like Tunic that came out as an exclusive on Game Pass, it didn't take long for that to end up on PlayStation. So do you still consider that sort of an Xbox exclusive for the year when you're talking an end of the year result, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I would, because I still consider Stray and Sifu, but by the time that Sifu, we'll talk about it later, there's an article, Sifu is going to be coming to Xbox. Once that happens, Sifu's no longer an exclusive game. We don't talk about it in that regard, right?
Yeah. But it's still, I get what you're saying, though. I mean, I now don't think of Tunic as an exclusive, but I do think of Sifu as an exclusive, because by the time it comes to Xbox, the zeitgeist, the conversation has moved on so beyond that game. And that's what PlayStation, give them their credit, that's what they're very good at doing. They're very good at sucking the oxygen out of a game and then being like, all right, now everybody else can have it. So then the developer or publisher can make a bunch of money from other people.
I will say there's also, like, we noticed the difference between Tunic and Sifu. Sifu was positioned very much so as a PlayStation game. Tunic was just a game that was going on Game Pass.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing that I really want to see Microsoft switch, because that also changes perception and like people's view of this. Because like Tunic should have been more attached to Game Pass, but it was not Game Pass to Xbox as a brand, but it wasn't. It was just a game that you're going to be able to play on Game Pass. Yeah. I think it was PC Game Pass as well. I'm not 100% sure about that. But regardless, and I think I want to see more marketing strives from Xbox's front as opposed to Game Pass's front, because we're getting to a point where year after year we're like, Game Pass is such a good deal, it's such a good deal, and I don't think that's going to stop. No. But I want to start seeing Xbox do more themselves outside of Game Pass.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be an interesting year, man. 2023, we're here, we're ready for games, to be honest with you, and I think it's going to be very telling if Xbox don't show up with the goods. Like E3 this year is so important to see there's certain developers out there that Xbox have bought. I'm looking at you. Oh Jesus, who did We Happy Few?
Wow.
Oh jeez Louise. It's totally skipped my head. I'm in holiday mode still.
I'm gonna look it up real quick because that's gonna bother me.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my
Compulsion Games.
Looking at you, Compulsion. Like, what the hell are you working on? And where the hell is it? Like, there's a lot of studios out there that we're like, okay, it's time. It's time. It's 2023. Yeah. It is time. We're not in that COVID world anymore. There's so much going on this year, I feel like, that Xbox have no choice but to release stuff. Big stuff as well.
I mean, this year, realistically, we should see Avowed drop in the second half of the year. Because I'm kind of curious what we have right now as far as Xbox is concerned that I'm aware of, and you can correct me if there's more games, but the three that I'm thinking of are Redfall, Atomic Hearts, and Starfield.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other notable exclusives dropping from Xbox. And that, to be fair, that is a good, strong launch. Arc 2? That exclusive?
I think that's console exclusive, right?
Okay. No, you're probably right. I know it's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's console exclusive.
No, you're probably right. They had a really good relationship with Xbox.
Where's State of Decay at, bro?
Yeah,
Where's
I mean,
Hellblade 2? I know we
uh,
got Stalker 2 coming as well,
yeah,
but
Stalker
that's
2, understandable situation,
yeah, of course.
but there are still stuff that, yeah, Arc 2 is exclusive, so
I
yeah,
thought it
there's that
was.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah. Outer Worlds 2. When's that
Outer
coming?
Wor-
Is that
Outer
this
Worlds
year?
2, no,
No, I
that
don't
won't
think it
happen
is
until
either.
after Avowed.
Do we ever see Everworld again, or has it been cancelled?
We see that. I really feel like that game's not gonna. I think they've put so many resources into the game that we will get the game. I don't think that game will be what people would want out of that game, and I don't even know at this point what people want out of that game.
I ain't got a clue, bro. See, as you look at it, you expect a Forza game. So
Yeah,
if we really break it down, right? We expect a new Forza, Starfield.
yep.
That's two. It's
There's Atomic
Hellblade.
Hearts.
Hellblade's got to come this year, right?
Um, I don't know. I like if it was a similar scope to the first game, yeah, but we don't know what the scope is for Hellblade 2.
True.
Because it could be a much larger scope. They could be taught like Hellblade 1 was a very basic game in a lot of regards. It did
Yeah.
a lot of really cool and interesting stuff and design aspects, but like gameplay and stuff like that was very basic. So it really depends. Are they expanding that in a significant way that the combat's changing and that takes time to design on top of designing it in a world and stuff like that? And then also is the scope of the game just getting bigger. So like I could see that taking till 2024,
Yeah.
possibly even longer depending on that. But we haven't really gotten a lot of information, which is sort of the unfortunate part about that game. That everybody, I think for the past, I think people were expecting it last year. People are expecting it this year. So hopefully we do get more information on Hellblade.
Yeah. I think you got Warhammer 40,000. You've got the games that I think will definitely drop. I think that definitely drops this year, which is exclusive. Redfall definitely drops, which is this year. Stalker 2 that definitely drops. Arc 2 I definitely think drops. And then Forza and Starfield.
Yeah,
I just admit,
that's
it's no. It's a lineup.
That's-
100%. It's a good lineup. It's not terrible. But the only big hitters that I see there that are guaranteed to come out, Redfall could be
Starfield.
easily a 7.
yeah.
Starfield
I
is the
think
only big game there that I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
think this will guaranteedly be at least a Bethesda game. You know?
Yeah,
Like, I know what
and
I'm
it really
getting.
depends how people are feeling about Bethesda at the time with
Exactly.
how it gets. Yeah, no, I agree. I think people who enjoy Bethesda games will end up enjoying Starfield regardless, right?
Agreed.
I think Atomic Heart could be a good. I don't want to call it a sleeper hit because it's had hype, but
Yeah.
for me, certainly it would be a sleeper hit because it's sort of gone under the radar for so long that only recently I'm sort of.
The
Oh,
last
I'm actually
showing,
looking forward to that.
the last
Yeah.
showing made me excited. The last show made me excited. Definitely, it was the last one that I was the words. Jesus, it was the first time that I saw it and went, "Oh, I'm actually interested." And
Yeah.
I'd seen that game 3 or 4 times before then, and was like, The last time we saw it, I was actually like, "Oh, this actually does looks like a me type of game," which is interesting and cool. But no, to answer the question mainly, no, I don't think it was I don't think Xbox had a quiet dominance. I don't think you can put your hat on Pentiment or High on Life. I'll use those two as the big ones and say that was an amazing game. Immortality as well, I get it. It's just no, it wasn't. It wasn't a quiet dominance. Game Pass is still the best value in gaming. Game Pass is still amazing, but no, Xbox did not have a quiet dominance. No.
Yeah. I also want to just reiterate real quick. I think it's a little bit unfair when games end up going to Game Pass to sort of give Game Pass the credit, which I think I've been seeing a lot of people do, is like there are developers behind that, and sometimes the developer teams deserve that credit. Because I've even seen third-party games end up there, and I'm not saying this on Origin Cookie Man. I've seen this being talked about on Twitter and YouTube videos and stuff like that. Game Pass is a great value for gamers, but Xbox success isn't reliant on Game Pass. It's reliant on them putting out games. I think Game Pass at this point could survive without Xbox. I think if they make Game
1000%.
Pass its own thing, it will be successful. I just want to see sort of stuff coming out from Xbox that says like, okay, this is definitely an ecosystem that people want to be invested in. Because remember, for right now, Game Pass isn't Xbox's only part of the ecosystem. Consoles are still a thing. They still sell games and all this other stuff.
Yep.
So hopefully 2023 we see that start picking up a little bit.
Let's hope. Let's bloody hope. Crash, what's been in your box this week, my friend? What you been playing for the last 2 weeks since I seen you?
Played Need for Speed Unbound. And Matt was so wrong about that game.
Was it actually good?
It's a good game. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It looked good.
I will say it's probably been my favorite racing game that I've played in a while. I enjoy it more than I enjoy Forza. Not to say it's a better game than Forza. It's definitely not a better game than Forza, but I enjoy it more than I enjoyed Forza because it's more
different type of game. Totally different.
Yeah.
But I understand why you like it more. It's
yeah.
It's back to those. It's not a PS2 game, but it's that type of racing game. You can bash off walls. It looks pretty. It moves fast. It's an easy on the eyes racing game. When I play Forza, I still have to think. Even Horizon, I still have to think.
Yeah. I also think what they did with the art style, with the whole, I don't know what you would call the effect, the cartoonish effects that's going on. I think those work really well. You know, I think it distinguishes it from other racing games as well by adding that cartoony effect. The character models don't bother me when I see them in the game, even though you have like the super realistic looking cars next to those models. It doesn't really look off with the way they've designed everything else around the game. The soundtrack's pretty good.
Any MC fix on that?
Any MC? No, they couldn't afford them.
As I say, my rates are way too high. They could never afford them. I've been playing Crisis Core.
Ooh, and
I really, 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 really like it. It's a really good game. It's very fun. Graphically, very, very pretty. It's very clear when you do go from the brand new cutscenes to the gameplay from back in the day. It's been upgrades and stuff like that. But this is my first time playing Crisis Core. We're gonna talk about an article in a second, but I'll touch on it here now because not last week, it'd be the week before's episode, I was like, everyone support Crisis Core. You have to keep supporting these games so we can finally get blah, blah, blah. Don't support this game on Xbox. Sorry, that's how I feel. Nah, especially with what we'll talk about later on. Just buy this game wherever you want if you want to play it, if you've never played it before. I do think they've done a great job with it, and I met Yuffie for the first time. And seeing that character and seeing all these characters that I've met from playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's like, oh, this is really cool, and I like what I'm getting here. The only thing that upsets me about playing it is like, oh man, I wish all Final Fantasies were in this type of world. You know? And then it made me yearn for maybe like Final Fantasy VIII, like a remake of that. Like, like 16 is more in like a fantasy world. Obviously, all of the games are in a fantasy world, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, well, they've been doing like this sort of hybrid world for a while now. I think Final Fantasy 14 and 16 will be like the ones that go really old school, which I think is just director. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Final Fantasy 8 would be a good remake. Honestly, I think it'd be
I'm just looking at 7 and I'm just like, 7 and like when I say 7, I mean the whole world of 7 now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love how much context Crisis Core has given me for that world. Yeah, like really diving into what the first soldier is and all of just all the stuff that I previously didn't care about. I now have more context on what these things are.
Yeah.
So now I actually care. Obviously, some of the characters that you meet, and obviously there's a new cast of characters, but you're running into old characters that even Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't give you enough context on, like, this is the bad guy, but why is he the bad guy? I feel like this game, I haven't got there yet because I haven't finished it. But I know where it's going. I'm like, oh, I see why you're the bad guy. Okay, cool.
How do you like Zack as a character?
So far, so good.
Do you like him more than Cloud?
No, I like Cloud as a character though. Even though they're both they're very different. Zack's very cheeky. Cloud's very moody. Yeah. But I think their character development makes sense. Like with Zack, from the opening scene on Crisis Core, obviously starting off in Soldier Class 2, and like just the way he reminds me of Spider-Man in a way. Like the way he's in combat and then just being like very I'm the
Yeah.
best.
Witty, very witty.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, never really got that with Clad. Clad is very serious and very, I'm first
Yeah.
soldier, or this is bum 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 bum. So yeah, it's cool. It's a really good game. It's a really good game. It's the gameplay was always like this in this game though, right? Like
Yeah, I believe they made some improvements. I haven't played it yet, so I'm
Got ya.
not too sure. But I've heard people saying the gameplay does have improvements in this version. So I don't think it's a one-to-one gameplay. So I don't know, because the gambling system, I forget what it's called.
Oh yeah. The
that
DMW or whatever it's called.
DM,
Yeah,
it's something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that system apparently is better in in the remake than it was in the original. So
Gotcha. Yeah,
I don't know what exactly has changed.
that whole mechanic's just kind of there for me. It's like
Mm.
I don't use it on little spawns. I only use it when I'm actually fighting against like big bosses and things like that. So because otherwise I'm like, oh, I might waste it. It's like, well, no, it's not. It's not wasted. It's meant to be there. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Gotta save it.
Exactly. Gotta save it. Then every
gamer
time
mechanic.
every time I go back into another fight, it's not there, and I'm like, so why didn't I just use it? Like, what? Like, oh, yeah, because I like in my head, the odds on getting another one's now less if I've used it. It's like, no, it hasn't, you idiot. But yeah, I do like it. I like it a lot. I like the story. I like the gameplay. Again, if you are someone who's a Final Fantasy fan, it is out on Xbox. It's worth playing, especially if you haven't played Remake. And I think play it before you play Remake as well. If you've never played Remake 7 as well. I think so.
I think so. I think there's certain parts of
More
the game
context.
that'll hit more.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, dude, that's all I've played over in America. That's literally all I was playing. I played it on the like I say, played it on the plane. And then there's so many games that I need to try and beat this week that I'm just like, oh god, here we go.
I mean, you really only have 3 that you got to beat.
And but the
know.
thing is, they're games I want to beat as well, so that helps. So
where it's not like, oh, I gotta drag.
I've got to play. I've got to
game.
go through Dying Light 2 at 50 hours. No, I'm looking forward to new games though. I'll be honest. I'm like looking forward to being able to. Obviously, my no pixel situation and like that was all done now, so I don't have to focus as heavy on that anymore. Which is now freeing me up. I'm like looking at sorting out a calendar for like this year and what games are coming out. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's keep on top of everything this year, okay? Please. We'll see. But what else you been playing?
I played some of the Witcher 3 next gen update.
Oh, how is it?
It looks good. There's certain changes, like I don't know if you remember in the original, to switch spell signs, you have to go into the circle menu and stuff like that. Now you can press a button and then it'll open. Essentially, you press another button and it'll do a spell, so you can do it right from in the middle of combat instead of having to go to a menu, which I think is actually like a really nice change. It looks better. Other than that, it feels pretty samey to me. I do know that they integrated certain mods into the base game.
Yeah.
Can I be honest? I was a little let
Underworld?
down by jumping back into it. Yeah. Because it's sort of like, all the issues that the game had when I first played it, and I sort of overlooked because I was so invested in that world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is now just like sort of creeping up on me, where it's like I'm playing it and the combat's sort of, it's a little clunky. It's not necessarily bad, but it's not super smooth and stuff like that. Where I still 100%, it's still one of my favorite games of all time, just from what I've played of it in the past and how much it resonated with me. But I don't think it's held up super well. And then it's also like I jumped into that after playing something like God of War. It's like from so it's like it could just be the timing of me jumping into that game, which is possible. But I think if you really enjoyed Witcher, I think it could be worth it for you to jump back into this update, because there is a noticeable amount of changes and it does look a lot better in the next gen update as well.
Okay, fair enough. The other thing I did play that I forgot about, I played just before I went away, was the Street Fighter beta.
Ooh,
I played it on my Steam Deck.
Oh wow, you played 2 games on your Steam Deck. I'm proud of you, Fix. How'd that go?
I actually really liked it. I really like the art style. Obviously I don't really know what I'm doing gameplay yet, but the one thing I will say is it felt accessible to everybody. which is nice. It did feel very like, oh, I can jump in and play this and understand. Yeah.
You would have been playing on the default control schemes, which they made the new control schemes, where you
Okay.
press side and I don't know which button it is, but if you press a direction in a button, it'll do one of your special moves. So you don't have to learn like the quarter circles or the DP motion and stuff like that, which makes it easier for newer players, which is also probably another reason why.
Is there any benefit to not playing on that?
There is benefit to actually learning them. I'm not 100% sure what the benefits are in Street Fighter, but
Yeah.
most games that sort of do these changes, there are benefits to learning them the traditional way. Like DNF Duel, which isn't on Xbox, but you have a meter, a magic meter, and if you do the motion, you start gaining that meter faster than you would if you just do the directional input.
Gotcha.
So yeah, generally in games like this, which I think is actually probably the best way to do it, is like you give this easier access, and you're not going to get as much out of it, or you're going to get benefits for doing the actual motions, so people can learn, and then it's like, okay, now get in there and learn how to do it with the motion, so you get the full benefit. I think it's a really, really smart move.
Yeah, 100%, especially for fighting games as well, because
Yeah.
some fighting games you get like if you miss out on half the game that's been built there because you can't do certain moves.
It's
like
it's also like it's a lot to have somebody, especially for their first fighting game, like, hey, here, learn what the game is about, then learn your character on top of that, and then on top of that, learn all these weird motions that you've never had to do in your life for a game.
Yeah.
And so it's like minimizing that to get people through the door, I think, is very, very important. And I think, especially when we talked about the trailer that we had seen for the World Tour mode and how they're sort of going to be slowly teaching people how to do motions in that. I think they have a really good formula here to possibly get people into transitioning from the basic mode into the actual the control schemes the way it's supposed to be played, or the way they used to be designed. Because I don't want to shame anybody for playing. Like, if you play with the easy controls, you play with the easy controls. That's absolutely fine. There's no issues with that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, it was a lot of fun though. I liked it. Did you get a chance to check it out or not yet?
No, I didn't get in.
Cool.
Did not get in. What character did you play?
So I played with, oh god, I don't remember the name.
Was it Luke?
Might have been.
Was it Jamie?
I don't remember. I don't remember who it is. I don't remember, Christ. I'm sorry. I was trying to do the career mode. Like, in the beta, all the modes were there.
Oh.
And I was trying to do that, and you can't. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's the very reason I downloaded it, was literally to do that. So I played a couple of matches, and I was like, oh, I'm good. This is fun. I'll wait for the full game to come out. So, yeah. Let's jump into this week's dashboard. Let's check out the news for Xbox this week. First one, Xbox exclusive Redfall is targeting a early May 2023 launch date. Rumors have been swirling around about the upcoming Xbox exclusive Redfall, and it may be launching in May, early, hopefully, we hope. Our sources collaborate, and this is IGN. Those reports suggest the first week of May next year. So if we look at that, we're looking at...
I want to correct you, and that's my fault. That's actually a Windows Central article.
Oh, my bad. Windows Central.
No. That's on me. It's the wrong link there.
It's all good. So you're looking at probably the 1st to the 7th. So you've got to think it'll either be the 2nd or the 5th of May. You'd imagine.
Yeah. You 5 months in, I think like the first half of Xbox's first half is actually pretty solid if Redfall ends up being a good game. Which I think it'll be decent. I think at worst, Redfall
it'll be good. It'll be decent. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's just I want more than just decent.
Yeah. And if it ends up hitting that mark and it's a good or great game, I think Xbox has a very solid first half, like just on paper from what we know is coming out so far.
Redfall's a huge deal for Xbox's platform moving forward because it's a new IP. You can never get angry about new IPs. If they hit or not is a different story, but you can never get annoyed about a first-party studio, Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, whoever, trying to put out a new IP. I love the idea of Redfall, especially what we've seen so far in terms of the tone. It's the story that is going to, and they've said how they want it to be a deeper, enriching story and blah, 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 blah. I'm interested to see if it actually lands like that, because otherwise it will just be me and 3 friends running around shooting, which I'm fine with, but I can get that experience in so many other places.
Yeah, I think for me, I just want a fun experience. Like you can have a rich and deep story and stuff like that, but it doesn't mean the story is enjoyable and fun to play through. Especially because it's supposed to be a co-op game. I don't necessarily need something that's over like here's the villain and here's his 10 pages of backstory and all this stuff. I just need something like get in there, let me have fun with my friends. When we get cutscenes and story beats, they be enjoyable or something that it doesn't distract me too much from an enjoyable experience. I don't want something like super dark and moody from this game, which I don't think we're gonna get something too much into that territory, despite having it being around vampires and stuff like that. Yeah, I really am interested to see if they change any of their co-op stances and stuff that they've designed. From as far as like, oh, you're stuck in this build, and if you're co-oping with somebody, you're stuck in that chapter or however they're working on it. I'm really, really interested to see if they change any of those, because I remember those being like my biggest worry when those came out. Especially when you had something like Gotham Knight where you can go and do any story beat and be in the world together.
Yes.
That game could have been so much better. But yeah, worst case, we're gonna have a solid game with Redfall.
I hope so.
I wonder how well this game will do with Game Pass.
Probably
like I'm sure it'll play well, but we don't really see Xbox doesn't really release sales for games anymore, right?
Not anymore.
Yeah, makes sense.
They're done with
that's one thing I'm always curious about with Game Pass is like how well did like Halo Infinite sell? How well did these games sell? Which is kind of an irrelevant stat for Xbox now, right? Because of Game Pass. To a degree. I mean,
at the end of the day, it affects the bottom dollar, right? And as long as the bottom dollar is doing just fine. Look, I was over in Texas. I was talking to people who own Xboxes. I was talking to Dave, who I was staying with. Like, he's got the new Samsung TV, like the new OLED Samsung TV. Didn't even know Xbox app was on there. Like, he ain't got a clue. I was like, you know, you've got an Xbox pretty much built into this thing. And he was like, I just want to play Flight Sim. And I was like, yeah, you could play that on the TV. And he's like, yeah, but what do I need? I'm like, I can control it. He's like, too much effort. I'm like, okay. So, like, he's like, oh, I might get an Xbox, though. And I'm like, did you just listen to what okay, don't worry about it. You know, like, people just, they don't care. People, I've learned, people are, they're interesting. We're interesting animals.
Don't worry. Cloud gaming is the future of gaming, Fix.
Matt's so wrong. It's ridiculous. Next up, Microsoft executive says Xbox's Activision deal is fair because PlayStation has way more exclusives. There's a few quotes here that you can go through and find. The main one I want to read, though, is here, which says, if you look at the global market, Sony has 70% of the market, and we have 30%. So the first thing a judge is going to have to decide is whether the FTC lawsuit is a case that will promote competition, or if it really instead of a case will promote the largest corporation from competition. Smith also added that PlayStation has 286 exclusives, while Xbox only has 59. I'll leave it there. But I am so sick of talking about this FTC stuff. I'm sick of the whole argument. I do love the fact that Xbox are fighting back. I will say that, and I do think it will open a can of worms that PlayStation are not ready for or interested in if this doesn't go through. I generally think they are, because I think Xbox are going to be like, well, everything that PlayStation does is anti-consumer at that point if this doesn't go through. The timed exclusive, things like that, it's anti-consumer, and Xbox can only do all of the stuff they're doing and what they're saying and all of this because like they said, they are 30%. 30% of the market compared to 70%.
Yeah.
So, but those numbers
are they
crazy.
saying that Sony's 70%?
Yeah, they're saying Sony has 70% of that market, the exclusive market.
Oh.
And Xbox have 30%.
But that makes sense. But I think
no, it makes sense.
That's kind of on Xbox though, no?
Well, this is where you get into the Twitter threads, Crash, which is yes, Xbox should be making more exclusives, shouldn't they? But the argument is, from especially PlayStation fans, they shouldn't just be buying exclusives. They should be making exclusives, which, to a certain degree, I agree with them on.
Yeah, Xbox is in such a weird spot because they've tried making exclusives and they weren't received well by Xbox fans. You know, we've talked about Rise, Son of Rome, and we've talked about Sunset Overdrive, how those games both launched. They were very solid games. Sunset Overdrive more than solid, and they just never got any support from Xbox fans. So it's very, very unfortunate, but it's also understandable. I think some of that's also a takeover from the 360 generation as well, where Xbox just didn't need to make exclusives, and Xbox sort of did the Sony thing because, like, you have to remember BioShock, Mass Effect, both exclusives when they launched. Those just in sequels ended up coming. Yeah, it's crazy that people don't remember that those games were originally exclusives, right?
Mad.
But that's something that we've seen Xbox stop doing, and the one time they tried doing it again was the Xbox One generation with Tomb Raider, which was a little weird because it was a sequel. And then it underperformed and had a whole bunch of kickback to it. So
great game though. It was a great game though.
It was the best Tomb Raider game out of the whole trilogy, in my opinion.
Oh,
it's better than the first, I think.
Possibly. Yeah,
and it's definitely better than the third.
I never played the third. You got me rid of that. You told me not to play, so I didn't.
Not a good game, no. Yeah. Matt said it was good. Maybe you'll enjoy it. I don't enjoy it.
We don't listen to Matt on this podcast, all right?
That's true.
Only weird people listen to Matt on this podcast. Next up, a nice quick one. Sifu coming to Xbox and Steam in March 2023. Good to see the game coming to Xbox finally. It was up for Game of the Year last year, so.
Yeah, fighting game as well.
You know, up for fighting game of the year as well. So, you know, a big category right there. Big category. Good to see it come to Xbox, finally.
Yeah, I think this is a good game to come over to Xbox. It's coming with the Arenas update as well, where you get to do a whole bunch of combat stuff. This game's very, very worth checking out when it does come. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I might have it. I'm not actually sure. I think I might already have it.
I think you do have it.
Yeah,
I think you do.
Next up, Kojima. Xbox game, quote, it was ultimately Microsoft that showed they understood, end quote. Microsoft announced partnership with Kojima back in 2022 of June. The result in that partnership will use Microsoft's, quote, cutting-edge cloud technology, end quote, to push a, quote, never-before-seen concept, end quote. Now we have more details about why Microsoft was the big tech company that backed Kojima Productions, quote. The project we're working on with Microsoft is one I have been thinking about for 5 or 6 years already. The project required infrastructure that was never needed before, so I discussed it with a lot of big companies and gave presentations, but they really seemed to think I was mad. It was ultimately Microsoft who showed that they understood, and now we're working together on the project, including the technology front, said Kojima.
It'll be an xCloud game. It's gonna be a Game Pass streaming game.
I don't think it's gonna be a streaming game.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. I think it's too easy to think that. And streaming's been around for longer than what we've had it in gaming. It just wasn't music. So it wasn't.
Yeah, but
it wasn't world spread. Go on.
The project required infrastructure that was never needed before. Fix. Streaming was never needed in gaming.
I don't know.
You're not knocking me off this. You're not knocking me off this.
But I'm thinking, what does just having streaming do? It doesn't do anything.
It's Kojima. He'll figure something out, bro.
Yeah,
You're thinking small-minded. Kojima thinks big-minded.
I'm thinking
He's connecting dots that don't exist.
He's creating the dot to then connect the dot. What do you mean? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Next up, Microsoft confirms that Sony has blocked these 4 games from hitting Xbox forever. As part of the proceeding, Microsoft has revealed that Sony has set up exclusion, end quote, deals for third-party games on PlayStation. It seems Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy 16, and Silent Hill 2 Remake will never hit Xbox. Xbox. I said Xbox. I'm sorry. Despite the associated publishers' silence on the matter, Microsoft also listed FromSource Bloodborne as an example of a third-party developed game that has been blocked from non-PlayStation platforms, which could imply that the OFT requested Microsoft Windows PC port is out of the question. Sony has been friendlier towards PC in recent years, though. So the person writing this is keeping their hopes up. Zyga has this to say: it's been confirmed that Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy 16, and Silent Hill will never come to Xbox. They are not timed exclusives. There is no maybe in 2 years or a year or two. It's not happening. These games are not being made for Xbox, and it's time we take the hope out of the old Jill?
Never read Old Yeller, right?
No, what the hell is Old Yeller?
Old Yeller is a book about a dog, and at the end of the book, this is spoilers for Old Yeller if you've never read Old Yeller, but they have to kill the dog at the end because it gets rabies or something along those lines.
Damn.
So Zyger's just saying you gotta take the hope out back and
shoot it.
Put it out of its misery.
My question is, what can Xbox do to ensure this doesn't happen in the future? Is it too late for Final? It's too late for Final Fantasy 7 and 16. It's not happening, and anyone who had a pizza bet on it is a fool. But what can Xbox do to make sure Final Fantasy 17 doesn't skip Xbox or any other third-party studio game? Genshin Impact is another game that might never come to Xbox. Same with Final Fantasy 14, despite Phil Spencer's comments on the matter. How does Xbox prevent losing third-party big titles, RPGs? I don't know. I don't have the answers for you, Sway. I don't have the answers.
Just a correction about Final Fantasy 14 is that Final Fantasy 14 at some point is going to come to Xbox. You just have to remember that Final Fantasy 14 at one point also had to stop selling copies of the game because their game was too broken. There were too many people on their game. Yeah. Which is kind of a crazy concept to have. But I think until they upgrade their infrastructure for that game, their servers and whatnot, we don't see it coming to Xbox for other reasons. Because the director for the game also mentioned that like they want it to come to Xbox and stuff like that. It just timing hasn't been right for that. But yeah, I don't know what Xbox can do. I think Xbox getting a Final Fantasy game, I think, is pretty out of the question. I don't think it happens.
Look, I'm not even upset about Final Fantasy. Look, like, I'm not upset about Final Fantasy 7 Remake or Silent Hill 2 if you really deep it. Those are PlayStation games. Like, they were known as PlayStation games. I mean, the same could be said about Resident Evil series as well, but, you know, whatever. I can understand it. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right, but I can understand it. Final Fantasy 16, on the other hand, is I don't understand Square. That's my thing. I don't look at PlayStation and go, you're the bad guys. I look at Square and go, what the fuck are you doing? And what are you thinking? Like, how are you going to cut out one of the biggest publishers? And it's because they can, at the end of the day. So what it comes down to is, how does Xbox stop this from happening? Is by I don't know, figuring out the situation with Square Enix. I think PlayStation just should buy Square Enix and get it over and done with, and it'll make things a lot easier for us.
Yeah, I mean, people also have to remember, like, PlayStation has a really good relationship with Square Enix, especially as far as Final Fantasy is concerned. And I wouldn't, like, I bring this up often, but I think it is something to remember that I don't know how long, like, Bad Blood lasts at Square Enix and whatnot. But when they were approached for Final Fantasy 14 to be fully crossplay and stuff like that, Xbox's response was, "We don't need that. You can keep it." So I wouldn't be surprised where Sony's like, "Hey, we'll pay a majority of the cost of this game. Just don't put it on Xbox and Square Enix." It's like, sure, cool. They don't need us. We're good.
And they need the money. You got to remember, Square Enix are not. Square Enix are not that company that, like, they just sold off a bunch of their properties, guys. Like, they're not that company no more.
They also made the statement recently where they're like, we're going to be looking to partner for a lot of our games and get people to publish a lot of our games going forward.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's something they've been doing with Sony for a while now. So, like, why isn't Final Fantasy 16 coming to Xbox? I'd imagine because Sony's probably paying a very big bag for the development of that game. Not just, like, to have that game as an exclusive, but, like, what's it going to cost? It's going to be a I'm gonna really lowball it, but let's say it's a $20 million game. We'll pay you
Way
18
more than
million
that.
or whatever.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. I know your
Yeah,
example. I'm messing with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's just for the cost of production. And I'm sure that there's also like marketing budget and all that other stuff that has to go into games. And Square Enix games generally get good marketing on PlayStation as well, right?
I mean, I think every game gets good market on PlayStation compared to Xbox games. Think
Xbox
about-
really needs to step away from the
It's
Game Pass
poor.
marketing.
It's
Yeah.
poor.
Like the marketing for Game Pass is great. I don't
Yes.
think they need as much as they do. I think they need to start marketing some other games more. Like we talked about Tunic. Tunic should
High on
been marketed
Life.
more. High on Life. High on Life. The best marketing it's gotten is solely on Twitter, and the tweets are fantastic
TikTok,
for
bro.
it. Yeah.
The best
It
marketing
just-
they've had is TikTok. It's people
Is it
playing
TikTok?
the
I'm
game.
not on TikTok anymore.
No, people playing
That's
the
not marketing.
game.
That's not marketing. I get what you're saying, but I mean like actual marketing
Definitely is marketing.
from the company. No, people playing the game is not marketing.
Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely not marketing.
If I get paid to play the game, that it is marketing.
Do you get paid to put up a TikTok clip?
Yes, I've been paid to put up TikTok clips before. I got paid with Warner,
So
with Warner Brothers.
So
for
you're
that.
saying the TikToks you've seen are people being paid?
Oh, I've
to
seen
put
it.
up
No, I haven't.
They're
But
ads?
I haven't seen ads once, but I'm saying the
Okay.
same
But
concept.
then,
It's
no,
free
no.
marketing. It's free
But that's
marketing.
no.
It's free
Okay,
marketing.
but that's not what I'm talking about. Now you're taking it into a different route.
fine,
You
fine,
get what I'm
fine,
talking about. I'm
fine,
talking about Microsoft putting money.
Oh,
into
Microsoft ain't
marketing.
done. Microsoft
I get what
have
you're
done
saying.
nothing.
Like that's absolutely free.
No, I
marketing.
get what you're saying. I get
Absolutely,
what
you're
you're
not
saying.
wrong about that.
I get what you're
But I'm talking about like and I think that's something that Microsoft needs to kick up, and they need to start doing more of.
How did a game like High on Life not have a big marketing budget?
I think Microsoft needs to start doing the equivalent of state of plays, and not what they were doing
Yes.
before. But it's sort of like,
Yes.
here's a 10 to half an hour show. We're gonna show up the games we have coming out soon, and it's nothing but gameplay and showing the games, and not really developer talk. Occasionally, like if you have a Kojima or something like that, and you want to have him do a little developer talk, whatever, that's cool. But nothing like too much, because I think that's where a lot of what Sony and Nintendo do as well is people will watch that and get hyped for those games and like, oh, I didn't know that was coming out, or I forgot that was coming out. And I think that's something that Microsoft's kind of missing in some regard. Either that, or they need to figure out marketing in some other degree.
I agree. I totally agree. Next, well, the problem is as well with High on Life. From what I'm being told, it should have just been a Rick and Morty game, but that's neither here nor there. No? Okay, well. Next up, last story this week. Epic Games fined more than $500 million over Fortnite unfair microtransactions. I actually saw this while I was away, Crash, on the news. It made like the local news over in
Did it
Texas.
really?
Yeah. Epic Games will pay $520 million over design tricks to dupe millions of players into making unintentional purchases in Fortnite. The FTC announced today. The fines from the FTC call two separate record-breaking settlements. One is $275 million fine for violating the Children's Online Policy Protection rule that imposes limitations on websites and online services directed to children under 13. Epic will also pay $245 million in refunds to customers over its dark patterns, end quote. I saw this, so I saw the story come out about them paying it back, and then I also thought, how are people getting their money back? And then I saw a TikTok, once again, of someone refunding their skins. And I don't know if that was, I didn't know if I got the gist of it correct or not, but it's sort of like, oh, look, I'm going to refund my skins, refunded them, and got like 7K. Silver?
Or the V-Bucks.
No, the money, no, I thought, like, real money.
Oh, $7,000.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't like that.
But if you were
I
scammed
think,
into... The problem is, I don't know how you can't figure out who was scammed and who wasn't, right?
It's also in what regard are they saying they were getting scammed? Because I think a kid taking his mom's credit card and buying skins, like that kid wasn't scammed. That kid knew what he was doing. Right? I think the kid did something that they shouldn't have done, but like they're also unbanning accounts that were banned for chargeback. So like when parents charge back the credit card, the kid's account would be banned, and now they're unbanning those accounts. So there's there's a lot of stuff with this. I do like the first part about children's online privacy protection, like you were automatically being put into voice chat and stuff like that, and that went against regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that I understand. I actually kind of agree with that side of the thing. But the whole buying skins aspect and people being tricked into buying skins, I don't know how that happens in Fortnite.
I ain't got a clue.
And maybe somebody knows better, but regardless, this is a very, very big payday.
I think you're right.
Epic
It must
has
be
to
into
make.
V-Bucks, though. I must have got it wrong on the money back. It must be into V-Bucks.
It could be dollars. I don't know.
I think I might have got it wrong. I'm not
Um,
sure.
I imagine that you'd have to like go through a process to actually get refunds, and you don't do it from directly in the game.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'd imagine you have to hit up customer service and stuff like that, but it's still a large amount of money. And I wonder what the ramifications will be. A, for Epic, like what do they start doing going forward? What changes with their policies and whatnot? But also what other companies are looking at Epic in both aspects of children's online privacy, and with microtransactions, and if anything changes in the industry wide, or this is just sort of an Epic thing.
I think this is just an Epic thing, personally. I
Yeah.
think it's Epic have made enough money. They can deal with settling on this. They've settled. Cool, move on, and it'll be done. We won't even think about it again.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. Let's jump into Fix's sack real quick. Remember, you can email in my Xbox and me podcast at gmail.com. First question. Question or possible topic. If the show would be good to hear... Sorry. If the show would be good to hear the lads' thoughts, 2022 wasn't a great year for Xbox in terms of first-party games, but 2023 is looking stacked, if all the games go to plan, of course. The question is, with the sheer amount of games, and I'm not complaining about that at any stretch, is there a danger that some games will get lost in the noise? Yeah, I think there is a danger of that. But in the same breath, Game Pass allows for you to wait a lot longer compared to once upon a time, right? Especially from a first party point of view. I think
Yeah.
Game Pass really is a game changer for that thing of like something doesn't have to be successful in a matter of seconds anymore, because the whole plan of Game Pass is to keep you subscribed. So it only gets lost in the noise if you don't find it again, and that's down to you to want to care about these games.
Yeah. One thing that I wish the sorting in Game Pass was a little bit better.
Agreed. I wish it done release
That's the
date.
only thing.
I need
Yeah.
release date. I need release
Yeah.
date so bad.
Because it makes it a little bit more difficult to like keep track of. I think what I personally need to start doing with Game Pass is you can bookmark games for later or whatever. I forget what exactly they call it, but I think I need to start doing that more myself, because I see games on Game Pass and I'm like, I'm gonna get around to that at some point, and then I go to Game Pass to look at what's there, and it's just like they get so many games, which not a complaint, but
Not
a
a bad thing,
complaint.
but a complaint,
Yeah, they get
I
so
think
many games that I just get lost.
Sorting by release window has to be a thing they add. I've wanted that for ages. Like, to me, it's
Yeah.
but again, I understand that is a very niche thing for me as well, because
I wouldn't be surprised, but also worried about like if we add sorting from release date, what's to stop if we add a game from game onto Game Pass from 2020? What's to stop people from not playing it because it's an old game, right?
yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so I could see that being a feature that never gets added, and I'd hope for it to be added, but I wouldn't complain at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. But no, I think things only get lost in the shuffle when you don't do your research and you don't prioritize things,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, I will say, this year seems like it's gonna be a busy year even outside of Xbox.
Yeah.
So I do think that there is for sure games that'll end up being in your backlog that you probably won't be able to get into until 2024. But with Game Pass, do you consider that being lost in the noise? Because you can still get to it with Game Pass. I think it is lost in the noise. And I think I don't think from a first party front stuff's going to get lost in the noise, but I think when you throw in third parties and the way this year's looking like it's going to be, which, like Eldozo says, we'll see how that pans out. It could be a very, very busy year for gamers.
I'm looking at what's coming out in January, and there's nothing until for me, there's nothing until the end of the month, which is Dead Space.
It doesn't really. Yeah, it doesn't really get busy until the middle of the year.
No, so
This
but what I'm
year.
saying is don't let a game like I'll talk about it from my point of view, right? You
Yeah.
got just from Xbox, yeah. Dead Space remake. Make sure it's played and beaten. Don't
Yeah.
wait. Don't mess around. Don't oh yeah, I'll get to it. No, you want to play it. You care about it. Play it. Beat it. Move on. Because after that, you got Hogwarts Legacy. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Play it. Beat it. Enjoy it. Move on. Then you've got. I don't think I'll end up playing it probably, but like you got that Wild Hearts game from EA. Then you've got Atomic Heart. Then you've got Like a Dragon. It just comes down to strictly that's not coming to Xbox actually, so that'll be on PlayStation. It comes down to prioritizing. Like, just make sure that when you get these games that you care about, that you don't wait. Like, play them, beat them, enjoy them, or put them in a catalog of like, oh, we'll get around to it at some point. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. To be fair, I think this is like a conversation that could be had every year because I feel like I personally don't do that. I always go into the year like I'm going to keep track of all the games I'm going to play and all this stuff, and I always lose track.
I think this year will actually be quite manageable for me. I'm looking at it more already, and I'm like, I can't. Can someone suggest me an app that you can track the games you play and beat, please? I know there's got to be one out there. Oh, have you got one?
Yeah, your notepad on your phone.
I hate you. I walked into that and I hate you.
I felt kind of bad because you got so excited, like you got one.
I need an app on my phone or a website that I can go to and I can put all the games that I want to play into something, and there's got to be one that exists. So yeah, but there's the beginning. Like realistically, the games that you missed in this year, you can beat early January because you got nothing really until unless you care about Forspoken, which
I don't care about Forspoken.
Yeah, like 24th and then 27th until the end of the month.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Realistically, like having games that you miss because a year is so good is not a bad thing.
No,
as much as people like. Having a big backlog always sucks because like I want to get to that game, but this new game comes out and there is sort of that missing out feeling, but it's not realistically a bad thing. That's good for gaming. That's a good year in gaming, and that's always a game that you have to go back to when there is a dry spot in gaming, and gaming does have dry spots and sometimes dry years that you will have time to hit the backlog.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. My New Year's resolution is to beat more games this year. I became a one-game Andy this year, and I didn't like it because I didn't get to experience enough. You know?
I just want to point out in 6 months, we're going to be like, man, all I've played this year so far is just GTA RP.
No. There's no way. There's no way. I can't, bro. I can't. Like, I haven't got it in me.
We'll see. We'll see.
Sure.
Fix is going to have a new EP coming out soon, and it's all going to change.
Yeah, but bro, I can pretty much make an EP in like a day nowadays, so yeah, I'm not even worried about that. All right. Next one comes from Little Smitty, who says, most obvious question. What? Not even what. What the hell? Were you on the nice list, and did Santa bring you anything good? Sorry, Crash, I know your family aren't Christmassy. I didn't get Christmas. I'm not going to lie. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if it's just because I was away for Christmas this year. Christmas just didn't feel like it was Christmassy this year. I don't have kids and stuff like that either. I mean, I got an electric toothbrush.
Maybe it was because you were in Texas for Christmas.
That's what I gathered. Like, I wasn't at home. It wasn't my normal traditions, you know. Even me and Haley didn't do presents like big. Like, usually we go all out. We didn't really even do presents like that this year. So, yeah. Is what it is. It is what it is. But no, I didn't get anything gaming related. I just opened the present from my nephews. They got me a new mouse mat. And I got some RGB, light strips. They got me some of those as well, both of them. But yeah, no, I got nothing Christmassy this year. Just nothing game-ified Christmassy this year, unfortunately.
Matt got all the Christmas stuff.
I can't wait to hear.
He got everything.
Yeah, he got everything. Literally everything.
Santa Claus came out and dropped off everything.
Yeah, I also don't need anything either. That's the other thing where I'm like, Please don't get me anything. I have nowhere to put it. Look at my room. Look at this.
Your Midnight Suns box is about to fall. That's all I'm saying.
Don't worry about it. All right, we'll do one more and then we'll get ourselves out of it. This one's from Top Left. He says, "Hey guys, hope you all had a good Xmas and a new year. My question for you, you lads, is what are your top two best and top two worst games that you played for this year, and are you excited for 2023? Sorry, and what games are you excited for in 2023?" Okay.
I'm not answering the worst games I've played this year. I feel like that's a bad category to have.
Worst games? I'm trying to think. What did I play that I didn't like? That just didn't hit this year. You see, I think it's hard, right? Because everything's so subjective.
That's why I don't like
because something I tell you what, my biggest disappointment this year for a game that I didn't get into, 2 Point Campus. A game that I thought I was going to... I did play it and I enjoyed it enough, but it didn't hook me the way...
Good. You were so hyped for that game.
Yeah, I was super, super, super excited for it. Ended up getting it. It just didn't end up hitting the way I wanted it to hit. That's a shame. Other than that, I'm trying to think of like the two best games that I played this year.
Don't say it. We gotta save that for
I was gonna say we've got the Game of the Year list coming up, so we probably won't say that. But
most exciting game.
Most exciting game for Hogwarts Legacy, man. I gotta be honest. Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not happy with where the proceeds are gonna go, and fuck J.K. Rowling and all that. But I've been watching Harry Potter, obviously with Haley over Christmas. I look forward to getting back into the Wizarding World. I do. I look forward to getting back in. I look forward to... I haven't played a good Harry Potter game since the PS1. So if this is good...
The Harry Potter game on the PS1.
If this is good, I'll be really looking forward to it. And you know what? We got one more question. So, but what's your most excited first?
Street Fighter 6. As far as Xbox is concerned.
Okay. Doven says, with the announcement of Xbox finally increasing the first-party games, it got me thinking, yes, the production of video games have gone way up in budget, but at the same time, the number of people playing video games have gone up astronomically too, compared to the last 20 years. Wouldn't it be fair to say that it should balance out the cost of production? No, not even close.
Thing called inflation exists as well, and because game prices haven't gone up, the cost of inflation has just affected it. Like more people have needed to buy games, which I think gaming's lucky enough to have been growing at the time, so that's why we never really saw a price increase for that long. On top of like when games get more popular, I'm sure that the marketing budget probably also gets a lot higher for games, unless you're Xbox, then it's just Game Pass marketing budget.
Yeah, it's not how it works. It's just not how it works, and I think you're severely underestimating the amount.
How expensive a game is.
How expensive a game has gone up. Like, look at what we're getting now. Like 4K.
When I was talking about Square Enix and I said 20 million, that is a low. I lowballed it like crazy.
Yeah, that's not even close. Not even close to what some of these game budgets are on. But yeah, Chris is right. Inflation, obviously, and just no. The game industry is, though it's growing, it's not growing in the console market, and Xbox's market is not the one that's growing. It's mobile, and that's why everyone's trying to get into mobile and streaming and things like that. That's where the money is. It's been there for a very long time now. Not that there isn't any money in AAA games and stuff. Why do you think we've seen the AA's just drop out? Because you can't afford to make them.
Yeah.
You can't take a risk on a red faction anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think we're sort of starting to see them come back slightly.
Yeah.
I do think Unreal Engine 5 will actually help with that, because like it'll be easier to make good-looking games and a lot of the tools they have. But still, we will never see as many as we did with like the PS2 and 360 generation. Those two different generations. Where it was a lot of AA games back then. I don't think we're going to be seeing that. I think we'll see key AA games, not a whole lot. And I think a lot of times we'll see them tied with a console as opposed to coming out on their own. Where it's like, okay, we can secure some sort of bag. We can end up on Game Pass, get part of our cost covered, or we'll be with PlayStation. They'll cover marketing or whatever it is we need. We won't just see AA games like that. But yeah, costs have gone up for games as well as inflation. I think it's a very hard one to talk about because you could throw in microtransactions into the conversation where a lot of games have microtransactions and that covers up part of the cost. So should those games not be charging as much as they do if they intend to have microtransactions? That's a whole nother conversation. And I think that's really game to game. That's just a hard conversation to have in general because we don't know how much games make also.
That's the biggest problem. We don't know how much they make. Boys, let's plug and get ourselves out of here. Crash, what you got to plug?
The My Xbox and Me YouTube page.
Come
We're
on,
gonna be
big
coming
push
out
this
with
year.
new thumbnails, big push. I think we're planning on having more consistent live streams on there.
Yep.
We still have some stuff to figure out. We're gonna be having a meeting within next week or something like that. Probably next week.
I can do High on
or
Life
the week
this week.
after that. Oh,
I could start.
there
I
you
could
go.
easily start. I could do it.
Fix is going to stream High on Life this week, and if he
Oh.
doesn't, I need you guys to all attack Fix for
Oh.
not streaming High on
Yeah,
Life.
no, I can stream. I can 1000% stream High on Life this week on the My Xbox and Me YouTube channel. 1000%.
There
I mean,
you
the
go.
game's only like 12 hours, right? So
If even, I think it's
Yeah, there you
shorter.
go.
I might be wrong about that, but let's say keep it at 12 hours.
if I can
as
do
far as
a full
looking better.
playthrough, I will. Or if I can do it in 2 sittings, I will. But yeah, I can definitely stream on there. Yeah, we got things planned. Thumbnails are going to be changing. Live streams, more reaction content, more video-y type content, more short form content. We are going to figure it out as we go along. We'll be having a meeting once we can get Matt back in the building. Yeah, you can follow me everywhere at MC Fixer. You can follow My Xbox and Me at My Xbox and Me. You can follow Crash at Crashnick Plays. And yeah, man, keep doing you. Until next time, we will love you, leave it, see you later. Keep being amazing. Good boys.
Bye.